Hello, Fearless Gamers, and welcome to another podcast here on Fearless Games. I'm Matt the Vet, and today I'm joined by...
Matt the Clown.
James the Wildcard.
And the Starklord.
And again, another rare podcast where all four of us are together.
Yeah. It's kind of scary, actually.
And so, speaking of, since there's two of you who was not here last time, Ninja Wolf Hybrid asked us, what would be your ideal video game in a blank franchise? And what we did last time is we did Warhammer 40,000. We also did Gundam. And was there another one that we did, James?
Probably. I don't. We kind of went off on a tangent about just games, so I don't know.
So,
yes, you did.
What would you guys, in your opinion, be your ideal Warhammer 40k game?
Oh, we're specifying Warhammer 40k here.
Right here, for now.
I don't know. The tabletop. I heard Space Marine was pretty solid. I never got around to playing it.
It was pretty solid, but it needed more players. Like, if you could have made that like a massive online thing of some way, that would have been pretty sick.
I don't know. It's. I'm a big, as everyone is probably aware of by now, I'm a big fan of Devil May Cry. So, something like that, which from what I heard, that's kind of what Space Marine was all about, being all hack and slash. But maybe from like, have an option to be from other perspectives, like get a Sororitas in there, but then have like a Chaos campaign or an Orc campaign. Or something like that might be cool. I don't know.
Okay, so you're saying like you'd probably prefer like more Space Marine-based games with other races.
Yeah, something like that. And maybe have like a multiplayer in there where like you can beat up your friends. But make it local multiplayer because I'm sick of online multiplayer.
Good point.
So Starklord, what would be your ideal Warhammer 40k game?
Well, I think Dawn of War already hit the RTS part of it pretty well, or decently enough, the first Dawn of War. The other ones were fun, but I like the RTS-iness of the first one, though I know that genre's moved on past that since then. I think, something like just Space Marine, but with all the races, and bigger. I mean, that's what 40k is. It is a hack and slash kind of thing. Either you have to have control of armies, like in an RTS, or you have to control single guys, but you want as many guys as you can. So, something like that. I like playing with a lot of people and blowing stuff up. I mean, maybe something like Planet Side, but with, 40k would be ridiculous.
One of ours was having like, say, like either a BFG variant.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Of a game.
Yeah.
Or, you ever play Sniper Ghost Warrior?
No, but you've talked about it a lot, so it feels like I've played it.
Something like that, but you play as a Eldar Ranger.
That would be cool.
And then when you switch out of the sniper missions, you do one of the Aspect Warriors, like the Striking Scorpion or the Warp Spider.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'd like them to do a Tau game again, because, Fire Warrior was kind of lame.
Yeah, we mentioned that. I mentioned how, Fire Warrior... A Tau Fire Warrior is your best pick. The Fire Warrior test is the best pick for an FPS style game.
It is.
Do it way better than what they did, because it was atrocious.
Just reskin Halo and you're done. The first Halo, because there's no hand weapons,
Yeah, but I mean, the original Fire Warrior game was just, I tried to watch through it.
I watched most of it. My favorite part of that game, watching the playthroughs, is when a commissar comes at you, and he's flailing with a chainsword, and it's hilarious.
My favorite part is when you see the battlecruiser performing Exterminatus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a really quick side, two shows, or I guess universes that deserve video games that don't have it, really quick. Farscape and Firefly.
I agree with both of those, I do.
Yeah.
I was also going to make a similar aside because I was actually having a conversation like this with my buddy Rob last night, and we were watching the new Conan movie, and every time someone said Conan, we would say Drogo. For those of you who don't follow Game of Thrones, there's a character played by the same actor named Khal Drogo, and he's essentially the same character. It's just Conan the Barbarian in that setting. And I think if I had to choose a game that I desperately want to get made, it would be a prequel to the Game of Thrones setting, following the story of young Khal Drogo. Just riding your horse around through the desert.
So Mount and Blade, but more savage.
I was actually thinking more like Red Dead Redemption, but more savage.
Okay.
Have like a plot there, but make it mostly open world.
Yeah.
And just riding around, being an awful raiding monster. I think that would be a lot of fun. And another franchise that I really love has already gotten the game I desperately want, but we're never going to get it in the States. And that's Kamen Rider Batch Ride War.
Yeah, we've talked about that, you and I.
It's coming up for the PS3 very soon, and I'm like, I might have to get this game imported and just not understand what's going on.
Now, here's a question that I'd like to ask, particularly you, Matt, is what would be your ideal Mega Man game?
Oh, you're a bad man.
Wait. It already exists. It's called Mega Man X Street Fighter.
I'll kill you. I'll murder you myself. No, oh, my ideal Mega Man game. That's an impossible question to answer. Because, like, Mega Man has all these different iterations, and I love something about all of them, but they're impossible to put together. Like, it's impossible to put original Mega Man with Mega Man X, with Mega Man Battle Network, with Mega Man Zero. Like, you can't put them all in the same game. So it's impossible to have, like, everything I ever liked about the Mega Man franchise all in one thing. I guess if I had to choose what game I would love for them to make in that franchise next, which I guess could be the closest approximation I could make, I would love for them to give us some kind of crossover between original Mega Man and X. Because those are in the same setting, just separated by a long time. So I think I think it would be kind of cool if it was sort of like, and you're not going to get this reference, but Kamen Rider Kiva, where basically if the story took place in like two time frames, where like you're playing through as say X primarily, but then there would be interludes where you go back and you play as the original Mega Man, and it fills in the holes of what's going on in the modern time frame.
Okay.
I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, that does sound really neat.
And like eventually the two would cross over, and you're crossing paths, and you're sort of like, oh wait, I know what happened here, or I know what's going to happen here. You know, I think that would be kind of cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
It'll never happen.
Yeah, it won't.
And Starklord, since you are a very big fan of, what would be your ideal Star Trek video game?
Honestly, I don't think they can make one. Or at least, I shouldn't say it that way. If anyone ever played the next generation Super Nintendo video game, that was actually pretty solid. One where it's just, you have to have a good mix of the starship combat, as well as exploring and puzzles, because Star Trek isn't just about fighting, and there's a lot of thinking and acting and lovemaking. And lovemaking with, green, Orion slave women or something like that. But
all a day's work.
All in a day's work for Captain James T. Kirk. And Captain Picard, who also punches Borgs out because he's the man.
We're not getting into this argument. No, we'll spend the whole podcast with that.
No, we won't, because it's Picard. We all know it's Picard.
No, it's Kirk.
The answer is Janeway.
Janeway, I want to like Janeway. I think Kate Mulgrew is a great actress, and I think they gave her a mediocre part overall. Like, occasionally Janeway had great moments, but they didn't write her consistently through a lot of the series, so it gets kind of garbled and lame.
I think you need to check your privilege.
Wow, I was waiting for you to use that. Also,
waiting for an opportunity.
I would like to watch the original Voyager. It's called Lost in Space. I think it's a much better show.
How dare you?
How dare I? Dude, Danger, Will Robinson. B9 is my hero from when I was like 4.
Your hero would be a stupid robot.
Stupid? He saved the day like every episode.
Yeah,
the idiot was the doctor.
Except for in the movie. The robot doesn't really save much.
Yeah, the movie, the robot doesn't do anything, but they get to go through a planet.
Yes, they get to go through.
Yeah. That's my favorite line in that whole movie. But seriously, a Star Trek game, I mean, it's tough because there's so many different levels of Star Trek. And you want to have good away team things, but you really want to make sure it's not just shooting people with phasers, because that's kind of boring. So yeah, if you ever played the next generation Super Nintendo game, there's space combat, there's puzzles, there's normal combat, there's a lot of stuff going on in there, and I think is the best way to do it.
My problem with Star Trek-based games, a little bit, is not the games themselves, it's the universe of Star Trek a little, especially when you go into the whole naval thing, because once the concept is you can't dodge phaser thing. There's no real evasive maneuvering.
You can dodge
shields up.
Yeah, you can't dodge phasers, but there's disruptors, non-Federation stuff, and torpedoes. You can dodge that stuff, and then you can have complicated.
So much.
Yeah, you have electronic warfare is a big heavy part of it, though you don't realize it. It's never mentioned, but you have to think about electronic warfare is probably a major part of combat in Star Trek. Just is.
Oh yeah, but that doesn't translate well into a game.
It doesn't at all.
That was my only problem, wrapping my head around how to make because I've seen my friends play different. Hold on a second.
Yeah. Well, while he's gone doing the hold on a second, I'm going to fill in with something really quick. Darn, you're back. Continue.
Yeah. I was just going to say, but it's just I've seen multiple versions of Star Trek games throughout history of Star Trek games, and it's either the space combat is so brutal that if you make one mistake you're gone, or it's not staying true in which you're dodging everything.
Yeah, and the other thing with space combat as a main pull for it, the issue is that Star Trek, the Federation, isn't really a warlike people. They got some weapons on their ships and they're pretty awesome, but they're not supposed to be military. So it's kind of weird to compare it, and then you have certain races that don't have a lot of variety. I mean, they had to really stretch in one of the games to give the Borg a lot of different things.
Yeah, right.
Kind of
what would be cool?
What?
A Star Trek game, for Star Trek is what I'm talking about. A Star Trek game where, you're not the Federation. You are a Romulan crew or a Klingon crew, and you're doing something that didn't, skirmish doesn't involve the Federation all with red tape. You get to be immersed into one of the different cultures that's not the Federation.
They actually did have a Klingon one once, I think, where it's the Klingon Academy or whatever, and you're learning how to be a warrior and stuff, and that
learning how to be a Klingon.
Yeah, learning how to kill targs, but have them as pets and eat your enemies' hearts and all that jazz.
I just like Romulans, so I think a pure Romulan game would be awesome.
Romulans are my favorite race of Star Trek. I understand a pure Romulan game would be great because it's so stealthy. You could be all guns blazing up in front, or you could be all sneaky, and that'd be fun to have a sneaky, kind of roguish starship game.
It would be Assassin's Creed the Starship.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be sick. But on that, I actually think that BFG would make a better space combat game, especially if they could add in proper three-dimensional combat in space, because no game really does it.
Yes.
You should be.
Well, no ship game really does it.
It's really tough.
Yeah.
And what would be awesome if you could do a rolling broadside.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. I just want to see a rolling broadside once.
I actually just came up with a question for you, Biz. Since you're asking the rest of us, what would be our ideal games in X franchise, I'm curious what your ideal game would be in the Godzilla franchise.
The Godzilla franchise?
Because I know you're something of a Godzilla fan.
Understatement. Horrible understatement.
Look, just because I'm only missing 12 of the videos doesn't mean nothing.
How many videos are there?
There's about 25.
So you have half of them?
A little over half.
Yep.
Okay, so you do need to do more work.
Well, they actually almost did pretty much a game that I really liked that was pretty much my ideal game, which was Super Godzilla for the Super NES, where you had to walk through the entire city. Basically it was the classic, monsters are going everywhere type of thing, getting attacked, and as a team of scientists, they kind of gain control of Godzilla. And you have to guide Godzilla through the city to get to the monster that you have to fight, and you have to do it with doing as little damage to the buildings as possible through the whole thing.
Interesting.
And it had a very interesting combat system, where it was a 2D side scroller combat, but what it was is you had to run, you had to hit the monster, and then special abilities popped up, and you had to select the one you wanted. And what was really cool was certain abilities wouldn't work on certain monsters. Like, the body slam couldn't hurt Biollante. In fact, it would hurt you instead, because Biollante had all the thorns all over his body.
Right.
Mechagodzilla cannot be hurt by radioactive breath, because he'd put up a shield automatically, and then he'd fire his eye beams right back at you.
That's cool.
So I'd like something more like that, like a redone version of Super Godzilla.
Cool.
Okay.
That actually sounds pretty sick.
I know the game you're talking about. I've seen a gameplay video of it recently. And while the concepts and description make it sound really great, having watched a gameplay video of it, I was sitting there going, what the hell is going on? That was probably one of the only Super NES games that I was able to beat start to finish that had like a story plot line that wasn't like, Mario Kart or something.
Yeah. The plot line is you race around the track.
I never liked Mario Kart.
Whoa, really?
Not ever.
Mario Kart 64 is like my favorite game.
Mario Kart was one of those games where I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then the second one, oh, this is just as good as the first one. Then the third one, wow, this is just like the first and the second one. Wow, they're not even trying anymore.
I mean, it's a racing game. What more?
Yeah.
Well,
There's only so many different ways to race.
They tried to do different things with it, and it didn't really work. Double Dash didn't really work, but 64 was fun. The Wii version's fun because they added in like motorbikes to give you different car options.
Wii version was pretty interesting. I did pick that game
I
up.
do really like racing games, but I don't like realistic racing games for some reason. Like, I don't really like what's it called? James, that racing game that you play.
Gran Turismo, then there's Forza, Need for Speed, which isn't realistic at all, unless you get the one that was basically a Gran Turismo clone.
Yeah.
Then there's like Dirt and WRC. I like realistic racing games. I like fake racing games like Mario Kart and things like it.
Yeah, I like my racing games sci-fi or ridiculous. Like, I need F-Zero.
Yeah, but no matter what you do with a racing game, no matter how you spice it up or dress it up, you only can do so much where you're turning left and right in different ways and going over obstacles or shooting a shell before you go, this is boring. Like, but the inherent weakness in a racing game is that it's so repetitive because it's racing.
I think the one thing I like about the Mario Kart game is the battle mode.
Battle mode was fun, and it was the best on 64.
Yeah, Block 4 all the way.
Block 4 for the win.
The closest thing I've ever liked to a racing game is the Burnout series, but very specifically in crash mode.
That's not racing anymore. That's just blowing
Exactly. That's the closest thing I like to racing games, because I typically I don't like watching racing. I don't like racing being involved. It's just, I don't know, I find it boring. But I do like crashing cars and causing explosions.
Yes. Another one was the Rush series.
What'd you say?
Rush series, because especially San Francisco Rush, because once you put it's like Burnout, you can't be for it.
Yeah. And
the whole thing about it was the race down to like a certain area, but crash mode was kind of already always present because the whole idea was to knock them off the road into buildings and pull them up and keep going. And then you had certain like freestyle mode, was like this arena. But you had a time limit. But if you got the code to take the time limit off, it was just fun to do really stupid stuff and not have to worry about, oh no, I'm out of time. But, racing games are just, I love racing. But the games, I can only play for so long before I go, I'm bored, I want to go blow something up.
Exactly.
Speaking of blowing stuff up, the Chaos Daemons are now up for pre-order. I put a link in the description. They've got a couple of new models going out right now. Yeah,
they've got a bunch. They've got some model stuff. What I like about this is they've had the collectors for them, but it's 4 mini little different collectors, just basically different dust jackets, depending on the god, which is nice. It's a nice touch.
Yep, and we've got like plague bearer drones on like beetle bee things. Yeah. We got the Chaos Psychic Power decks, which obviously if they didn't have, I'd be very shocked. They've got the Blood Throne of Khorne, the Herald of Zenich on a burning chariot, which looks awesome in my opinion. the Herald of Nurgle, which I think is kind of the most lackluster out of all of them. And the Herald of Khorne and the Herald of Slanesh.
Nurgle's hard to make good without making it overcomplicated. It comes down to a good paint job.
He doesn't even. There's not much ornate stuff in Nurgle.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it. It could be better. It looks like it's from the 80s. Like the intestines look kind of lame.
Yeah, well,
can't have everything.
Cool. You know what I want to have happen in any? I don't care who does it, whether it's a video game or some type of video game. I don't care which company does it. I don't care if it's based on anything. I want a good battlesuit, not like Tau Crisis battlesuit, but the idea of a battlesuit, like Exo Squad style. Anybody remember Exo Squad?
Yeah, I love Exo Squad.
No.
I would love something like that, but a modernized game of a cool, not something crazy big like Battletech. I love Battletech, but you're putting in a big mecha. But I want something where you're not just first person in a super suit like Halo or Half-Life or Crisis. I want the in between, a good battlesuit style game where you clearly feel like you are, not dwarfed by what you're piloting, but you have all this extra movement and extra maneuverability and weaponry.
I think there's actually a game that might. Have you seen Warframe yet?
I have not seen that one, but there have been games like this, but it just hasn't hit it on the head for me. The one that was like it a while ago played too much like Battletech, which is quicker moving.
Yeah.
Which isn't, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you didn't feel like you were really maneuverable. You just felt like you were speedy.
Yeah. On a side note, people should watch Exo Squad because it's the only show I can think of that was a kid show to start with fighting space pirates and eventually turned into a whole thing about slavery and cloning, and it was ridiculously good.
Yeah, it was also a kid show with full of weaponry.
Full of weaponry and death. A lot of people died in that show.
Surprisingly, if you watch, I've been watching the original Transformers, they talk about killing each other a lot in that show.
That's okay, they're robots.
It's just
robots aren't alive, it's fine.
And speaking of that, have you heard about the whole issue that happened in Russia with Battletech?
Yes, that was hilarious.
I missed this. What happened?
What happened was there was this a bunch of college students were given a test or something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And in the test there was this visual, a picture about a image of the Russian Revolution. But all their tests were recanted after I think they all failed or something. But they recanted the tests because the guy that posted the test didn't realize he put a picture of Battletech in the quest. So it was a picture of these Russians, doing the Russian Revolution, but in the background there was a Battletech mech.
Yeah, it was basically a picture of one of the older Battletech pictures. It has, if I remember correctly, it's a Marauder.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
I don't know if it's Marauder 2 or just the Marauder. But it's in the background, and it was a revolution in Battletech. They stormed a capital, infantry with a mech support. But I don't see how the guy missed the big giant mech in the background.
The thing is that there's an original. It's the Battletech picture is based off an original image that's the same thing, except they added the mech into the background.
Exactly.
So it's a famous picture of Thor, and he was just not paying attention. Again, saw the dude on the foreground, throwing a bottle with a gun in his hands. That's the picture, and not seeing the mech in the background.
It's not even hidden and missed. It's blatantly there.
It really is. And it is a Marauder. I'm looking at the article right now.
Yeah, okay. And I know about Battletech a little bit too well sometimes. But yeah, it's just funny. And also, this is a quick thing. That back in Battletech is one of the few mechs, is the Marauder, the Warhammer, and there's one other one. The Rifleman was there for a while until they redesigned it. That was a big contention between them and Robotech, because those look exactly like Robotech stuff.
Yeah.
And exactly, the profile. If you had the silhouette, you could be confused. Weapon systems and overall minor design changes were there, but that was a big point of contention, and it still is to this day, between whoever owns, is Harmony Gold still around and owns Robotech? I don't know who does it anymore. But whoever owns Robotech still, and anybody who owns Battletech. So, that's why, if you notice,
Hold on. Yeah.
players, they have re-sculpts of a lot of the mechs to be blatantly different from what they used to be recently, so they can be resold again. And they pull certain formations. like the Aerodynamic Light Horses, has nothing to do with Robotech, I don't think. It's something else. But the Battletech has certain formations that were based on either real formations or something in a show, you know, inspired by it, but a little bit too closely. So the Aerodynamic Light Horses are kind of on the back burner. They still exist in the Battletech universe, but they use in a couple other things and a couple of mechs. Like, that was the whole big thing with MechWarrior 5. In the MechWarrior 5 Piranha Games trailer that was released a few years ago, like 5 years ago or so, maybe 4, it was a Warhammer patrolling the city, took down a general, and then it got killed by an Atlas. But the fact that it was the Warhammer mech, Robotech IP came up and basically shut down the game in a sense, and that's what I think that's part of why we have MechWarrior Online, because MechWarrior Online looks, feel, and finish is very much like those early shots of in-game footage of MechWarrior 5.
Is that the one where they're battling in the city and they're like kind of dancing around the building?
I don't know what you mean by dancing, but if you mean
constantly, basically trying to keep the building between the two of them when they're battling.
And then he ejects out at the end because he gets blown up.
and it looked like almost like at the time it almost looked movie-esque.
Yeah, that was that one. And the Atlas is BattleTech completely, and Warhammer is a mech in BattleTech that is different when you look at it, but it's close enough that Robotech has the case every time. So they threw a lot of red tape at it in this general direction, which is weird because Robotech still exists. And I just rewatched the entire series, by the way. I forgot how much I enjoyed that series. But they haven't done anything recently. They still have conventions that they host and whatnot. But so what are you guys doing aside from suing anybody who doesn't, have something slightly similar?
Speaking of that kind of stuff, have you guys heard what happened with the Colonial Marine after it came out?
How everyone hated it and it was a bad game?
Well, what it was is if you watch, there's this video that compares the game footage to the test footage.
Yeah, like the demo was awesome, and then the demo never happens in the game.
Well, there's the thing is everyone went up to Gearbox and went, what the heck? You showed us this game footage. You said it was from the game, and the game doesn't look anything like this. You lied to us. And Gearbox went, no, we didn't lie. That's game footage. That's the Wii U's game footage. Apparently, Gearbox is working solely on the Wii U version, which is why it's not out yet. And they outsource
everything
the PS3 and the Xbox on the ideal that the game on the Wii U was going to have a longer lifespan than on the Xbox or PlayStation.
Look, all I know is watching that's a dumb idea. All I know, if you haven't watched the videos of it, like watching,
there is a video out there comparing the two footages.
Yeah, but like the Colonial Marine, the game that came out, was basically a bad skin of Left 4 Dead. Like looking at it with even worse AI, and Left 4 Dead has fine AI, but it had like bad AI for everything, and it was hard.
Yeah, apparently on the Wii version, the AI is better, the graphics, everything that you saw in those game footage, that's the Wii U version. My only question for Gearbox is if they were thinking that, why didn't they just push back the game date release and have a release on all 3 new platformers? I mean, they waited 8 years already.
They were being forced to produce because they were about to go defunct on their contract, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
They're supposed to do.
It's more the publisher than the developer.
I almost guarantee, though, that they kept doing their other projects because that's what they were doing. They had to release something, so release that, and now they're making up an excuse that they'll have a good version on the Wii. I don't believe that's like the Wii U unit stuff the whole time. I think they made a demo, their outsourcers didn't do what they're supposed to, they didn't check, and now they're like, it's going to be a Wii version, and it'll be better. I don't care anymore.
Everything that we've been reading is that, game testers have said, they have, confirmed that part. Again, we won't know till the game actually comes out.
Yeah.
But, Gearbox's excuse for why the Xbox and PlayStation version looks so horrible and everything was because Sega reps saw their work on the Wii U at that demo and went, the game's done, okay, package and release the Xbox and 360 version. Is their excuse is that Sega prematurely released the game.
They can do anything according they want. The thing is, if they were developing a Wii U game in-house, and if they were just basically outsourcing for 2 systems that are going to be replaced soon enough, which isn't the right thing to do anyway. They basically made they're digging themselves in a hole where they dug in for so long, and the game is not good anyway.
Yeah.
Comparatively, even outside the visuals and graphics from what I've heard, there's 10 levels, and only, not counting the tutorial and the boss battle, there's only 3 Xenos levels.
Yeah, it's like you're fighting other humans, and it's just... It doesn't look good, and the story looks lame, and it's depressing.
And Fox
Scale
declares
is
that
canceled twice already. That's why.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Fox has declared that it is the official continuation of Aliens.
Which is kind of fine. Like the overall...
that.
No.
Unless
I really wanted it to be good, and I'm really upset, and I don't think that even if the Wii version is going to be better, that anyone's going to play it at this point, because they got this first.
Yeah. Well, no, like, I guess, like, a good example is, for me, is I was interested in Colonial Marines. Then I heard and saw everything. I was like, I'm not really interested anymore. Then I heard the whole, the Wii U version is what the game demo we saw was. And now I'm like, okay, if it goes on clearance for like $10, maybe.
As a Predator fan, I am feeling mighty smug right now.
I hate you. I'm a huge Alien fan. I own the Colonial Marine technical manual. I've had it since I was like 12.
You are such a dork.
I know. And I'm like, I was super excited for the game, and I saw the demos from E3, and I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be great, and I know I can't afford it right now, but I'll get it later, and then I'm like, then I saw the reviews, and I like watched the gameplay, and I'm like reading everything, I'm like, wow, I'm angry at these people. They lied.
Well, that's what it does when you rush a product that's been canceled twice.
Yeah.
I'm a Predator fan, along with Matt, and it's just that I've looked at the history of how they released Alien games, and if Predators weren't involved in the game, it wasn't a good game for whatever reason. Like,
I know why. I know what that reason is. It's because
Predators weren't involved. Yeah, but like the Aliens game, especially this Colonial Marine game, it was almost like Duke Nukem-ified, but worse somehow. Because when I saw the commercials for it recently, I'm like, didn't this come off 5 years ago or whatever? Because it was supposed to be like, we're coming out, and then it canceled again.
It got canceled.
And then before that, it was even supposed to come out even earlier, and it got canned back in the day as well. That should be a clue.
And it stinks because, like, the AVP, the Alien vs. Predator game they made way back in the day that was Aliens, Predators, and Colonial Marines, was a good game.
Alien vs. Predator was the game that Colonial Marines was supposed to be following after, and then it got canceled.
Because that was a good
game.
Let's
talk about the side-scrolling one, where you could be a Colonial Marine.
There was actually a first-person one.
A 3D one.
And it was,
I know there
like
was, but before that, there was AVP, which was side-scrolling, you could be a Predator or a Marine, I think.
Oh no, you could just be a Predator, and that game was great. That was on the Super Nintendo, and I think the Genesis. Where you
can summon down,
be a Colonial Marine.
Where you can call the mothership blow everything up.
That was a fun game.
Was the best ever. They should have stopped with that.
Yeah, like that the whole storyline of that game was like, aliens showed up, they put out a distress signal, and Predator's like, yeah, I'll help because I want to fight awesomely hard things. And it's like one Predator versus an entire planet full of aliens on Earth, and it's great.
Yeah, it was great.
And fighting the scene was so hard in that game.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It's like a good Predator game. Like, where you are Predators.
That would be nice to make a good Predator game, yeah.
The one issue with that game that I had was I was very big on hitting the mothership button, and I kept killing myself because the mothership took away health.
Yeah, you have to be careful with that. You know what they should do? They should make a game. They could make a Predator.
They should make a Skyrim version of Predator.
No, they should be more like Assassin's Creed. Predator being around, cloaking, and then if you have, like, the multiplayer Assassin's Creed.
Oh, you just get such a nerve with me. That's amazing. Oh,
yeah, no. Here, listen to this. For a multiplayer, you have one person as the Predator, maybe two, and then everyone else is normal people trying to find them, and the Predator is cloaking around, sneaking around, and, like, stabbing people.
That'd be a cool multiplayer.
I have this very warm, tingly feeling right now.
See, that would be a good game.
Oh, it could be a great game of Predators like that.
I gotta say, I do find it hilarious how divisive the Alien vs. Predator thing can be. Like, I have seen that ruin friendships.
Yeah, I don't get it. I love both. I'm more of an Alien fan, but I like both.
I like both myself.
I don't really like Alien that much. I mean, it's cool, but Predator is just so far ahead of it for me.
So all you fearless gamers out there, what do you prefer, Aliens or Predators?
Yeah, how many subscribers did we just lose when I mentioned I don't like Alien?
Alien for me was like. Was alright. What I liked about him is that they're so alien itself.
Yeah.
That's cool. But aside from that, I like Predator more just because of the whole hunter aspect. You felt that while the aliens had intelligence, you felt they're like bestial cunning, and you could feel a real intelligence in Predator.
I like the alien. Probably my favorite design of the aliens is the Queen. One of my favorite aspects of the aliens is it's pretty much a race of beings you cannot, they don't get happy, they don't get scared, you can't compromise with them. That's probably the one aspect I like about them is it's different from at the time other alien concepts where they were always, let's try to reason with them, they're actually not really evil and blah blah blah. And I like the idea of just what if there was just an alien that's just a creature with no real sentience.
Yeah,
and I kind of like that concept behind that.
It's a cool concept. The movies didn't do much for me.
But on the flip side, what's neat about the Predator is the fact that it's just this alien race that goes, we're gonna hunt everything.
What I like about them is if we're gonna hunt everything, we're not really gonna wear armor. Our vision is terrible with a helmet on.
Yep, they need a helmet to see better.
And our blood glows. But we're gonna hunt things.
Yeah,
we're gonna do it very, very well.
They basically said we're awesome, we're like an apex thing, so we want to fight things that can kill us back.
Mm-hmm. They're kind of like a weird mirror to the human race, because like the human race, we've become the apex life form on this planet, but if you put like me in a room with a lion and I don't have a gun, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, you are.
And if you put like a predator in a room with probably I don't know what their home planet's like, but I imagine it's a similar situation with them, because like James mentioned, their vision without their helmets, awful. Yeah, like they have their physical limitations and they've gotten around them through these technological innovations that they've got. And it's sort of like, that's one of the things I like about them, is they're sort of like this weird, dark, tribal mirror to the human race that doesn't give a single damn. Like, they're just like, we're gonna kill you, because, well...
I do like the fact that they have a code of conduct when it comes to killing. Like, they won't kill pregnant women, and anyone that can go toe-to-toe with them, they consider an equal, and in essence, they kind of essentially put them down to their level, so it's like a fair one-on-one fight between them.
Yeah, that's what I like about them. Every time they take off the helmet, they drop off the gun, and it's just like, okay, we're gonna wrestle this out. Let's do this.
I finally found someone worth fighting. I'm going to try to kill you barehanded, and you're going to try to kill me barehanded, and the best one will win. And then I'll take your skull.
I will say, the one thing I like the least about Alien, though, is that their whole life cycle seems terribly inefficient.
Yes.
Where it's like, Queen lays egg hatches facehugger tracks down warm body, facehugger ambushes warm body, lays creepy facehugger babies in warm body, and then chestburster. It feels like there's so many places where that should have gone wrong in their evolution.
The thing with the chestburster, or at least with the whole evolution, and the way we know it from the current movies, let's talk about Prometheus, because Prometheus has more questions.
I haven't even seen Prometheus, so
it's actually
I kind of like Prometheus.
I like Prometheus. I really do. But let's not talk about it. So basically, the whole bit with the alien life cycle, since there's a hive being, when the facehugger lays an egg, and that egg takes on genetic aspects of the person that is going to be hosted.
Right.
So they become a better, when the drone pops out, it becomes a better version based off of killing that thing more efficiently.
That part's fine. It's everything leading up to the chestburster that feels terribly inefficient, in that there's there's an entire middleman organism.
Yeah. The middleman organism allows you to have a long-term storage, because those eggs last, like, forever. It's a hibernated
animal.
It's like,
it hatches, it does its job, and that's it. In a working hive, like in Aliens, they work fine. You drag them over to it and it pops. But if you have to spread the hive, then you just throw a couple of those eggs out there somewhere, and then that will start a new hive eventually.
But you also have to pray that the egg that drops is a queen.
And a lot of it is
what determines that.
A lot of it is like with spreading the hive. A lot of that is plot armor for the aliens. I'm sorry, but a lot of it, like when I see some of these movies where like the face hugger will get his warm body, A lot of it feels kind of like they did it because, well, plot. You know? And, you know, sometimes it's legit, but other times it's like this guy took his helmet off only because they needed him to get face hugged.
Yeah, sometimes people do dumb things. It's like, why would you take off
like,
your helmet on an alien planet? Rule number one,
that's the part that
don't
bothers
take
me
your helmet off.
That's the part that bothers me the most, is it's like, a lot of the time it feels like they had to make people do stupid things for the aliens to start
What's interesting, if you really think about it, the one person that was the smart one, they even wrote around how, even though he was smart and kept his helmet on, it still got through his helmet.
Yeah, like they burn through helmets sometimes.
Yeah,
like in the first film, he kept his helmet on because he was smart. He's like, I'm going to keep my helmet on because I don't know what I'm in, and the thing just broke right through his glass helmet.
Right,
yeah,
like there's a lot of
fun.
Plot armor for the aliens. They almost feel like Mary Sue monsters sometimes, because like, oh, our insides are made of blood and we can survive in a vacuum and all this crap. But you set them on fire and you're golden.
The acid bit I like because they have a more direct digestive system, circulatory system combination. It makes sense.
I'm not saying I don't like the acid bit. It's just like everything on top of everything else.
Yes.
And the way it's presented just is like, really?
The acid is like too good eventually. Like in AVP or Requiem or whatever, like the drop falls on the guy's arm and his arm falls off. I'm like, not really how acid works.
Yeah, and it's not really how it's worked in other films.
Okay.
And there are certain substances acid doesn't really burn through.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
like another good example is in the first film. The acid doesn't burn that. Like eventually, it lost its strength and stopped burning through the ship.
It did go pretty far.
It did go pretty far, but like say like an AVPR, like with how powerful it was, it would have gone through the whole hull of the ship.
Like the problem is eventually the people writing it after the first 3 movies didn't really know a lot of science on those levels and just went with the cool Hollywood factor.
Well, not even a science thing with the acid, but if we got a better special effects budget and we can make it look really cool and people want more instantaneous burn, it has nothing to do with the science aspect of that. Like, first off, with the aliens, like, my whole thing with it, like they said, queen. You have to be lucky to spread a queen somewhere. There's no, if you don't spread a queen onto a planet, we kind of just die off when we die off.
Yeah, that's
the other
3. There was no queen. It was just the one alien. It was killing everyone, though. And Alien 1.
That's why I like Requiem, because it was a pred alien that just did mouth to mouth, I put egg in you. You know, it was no fish for it. It made a lot of sense.
The Predatarian I thought was a cool idea, but some of its abilities were just like, what?
Makes sense.
I had no problem with its abilities. I liked it a lot. I just like, when it made the most sense is how it reproduced. It's like, I don't need face huggers. I do it directly in your mouth type of thing.
Yeah, that was...
What I like the most, the best face hugger adaptation are the head crabs in Half-Life, because it's not like we make a baby in you. It's I become you.
Yeah, no, the head crab of Half-Life is great.
Yeah, I think they're way better than
and they're scary.
scary.
They scare the crap out of me. Even when they like just fake ones, like I see like a face hugger like plushie on a shelf, it creeps me out.
Dude, the head crabs when they get like older too, like when like they get like the screaming black head crab zombies or whatever they are.
Oh, those are very scary.
Those scare me so badly.
Yeah. One speaking of like the face hugger plushies, there was this great photo once I saw. It was this little baby, and it was sleeping in a crib, and they placed the plushy alien egg in the crib, and then they just dropped the face hugger on the baby's face.
That's terrible.
But it looks so adorable.
It's adorable, Death. But yeah, I think the Half-Life head crab is a nice.
I just found that picture.
I think it's a nice evolution of the face hugger, is the head crab.
Yeah,
the reason I find it scary, it's a parasitic, it's a true parasitic thing. It's taking you over.
It makes
sense.
Not
just stated.
Oh, on a side note, really quick side note, do you guys know who wrote the screenplay for Alien Resurrection?
Alien Resurrection? It was Josh Whedon.
Yes, it was.
Huh. That's cool.
Yep. If you watch, you can kind of tell, like, the band of mercenaries is like a prelude to Firefly.
Yeah, like, they straight up are. It's kind of funny. Writers, I think, let me just check what he's officially...
I know he did Cabin in the Woods.
He wrote, like, the general thing, and 2 other guys wrote the characters and stuff, but, like, he gave it the general plot. And Alien Resurrection isn't a great movie. It might be the worst Whedon movie. But it's totally like the Firefly crew in the Alien universe, which is kind of funny.
And there were things like that just made no sense, like when the one dude, like, he could do all these trick shots that could bounce off like 60 different objects and hit this one target directly where he wants to, but he's shooting directly at an alien, he can't hit it. And they were trying to argue, oh, the alien's dodging it. I was like, no!
I don't remember that. I do remember doing crazy trick shots.
They're climbing up this ladder.
Oh, right, and he's hanging backwards.
Jumps on the ladder, and he points down and fires at it, and they were literally like point blank range, and they were arguing, well, the alien's dodging, so he can't hit it. And I was like, he could just trick shot and hit it in the back.
It's true. See, that's what happens when your character over specializes in trick shot.
But then why would you do anything but a trick shot then?
It's a good point. Obviously, the player wasn't playing right. The player should have always been using trick shot at that point. That's just a bad D&D player right there.
I'm gonna punch you next time I see you.
You're real lame.
You're a nerd.
I know.
You're so much of a nerd that I want to beat you up and take your lunch money.
That's fine.
Wow.
That's just harsh.
Sometimes you have to explain things with D&D. I mean, that's why all stormtroopers are terrible, right? Because they don't have medium armor proficiency.
No, you really don't have to explain everything with D&D. You really don't. I'm going to take your lunch money. That's just what it comes down to.
It's funny because I don't have lunch money. I'm broke.
Well, we're going to take your credit card then.
Oh.
Yeah,
oh, that's a problem.
It's like lunch money.
It's like lunch money with credit.
Yeah,
true.
forever. Yes.
Yeah, but just like Elena says, because we can take it all now.
What?
We could take all the lunch money, take all the credit if we get his credit card.
Oh, because I felt, I was like, wait a minute, I missed something.
And so, it should be time that we start wrapping up here for today.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, and there is one thing, and since it's not really a question, it's just it was another food thing.
Oh,
but
yeah, we forgot to mention that.
I don't know
yes.
I don't know what it is.
We looked it up.
Well,
it's a Swedish dish consisting of fermented Baltic herring. The
I'm down
answer
with
is
it.
no, I'm not eating it. I refuse. No.
I'm sorry, but I like herring, I like fish, but I know I don't like that, and I'm not trying it with anything. It's kind of gross.
I do appreciate that he told us to look it up before we just went out and bought a can.
I'm thinking go out and buy a can. Like
it comes in a can.
It does
It
come
comes
I
in
don't
a
think
can.
you just go out and get it at like the local grocery store. You got to find a place that sells it.
According to a Japanese study, a newly opened can of Zeus Roaming has one of the most putrid food smells in the world. I just started a new job, and the other day at work, there was a conversation about this, because apparently someone brought it in for lunch one day, and the building smelled of it for days. So
That's
no.
terrible.
So
That's
no.
terrible, but I want to try it.
You have fun.
So,
Okay,
You report back
James.
to us.
If you try it,
Film it.
be our guest and let us know what it's
And
like.
film it.
well, now
Yes.
I don't remember the YouTube subscriber's name, but I want the subscriber to say if they ate it and what they did with it.
Yeah, what'd you think? Did you vomit?
Okay, so yes, in the comments here, let us know what you normally put on it if it's something that you eat regularly, and what you think about it.
Yeah.
And also tell James where he can get some.
Internet.
I'm not gonna do it anytime soon, but it's something I would be interested. I'm not that afraid of it. So.
So that is all for right now. Again, keep those questions coming because we love answering questions on the podcast. It gives us something to do.
Yep.
And make us look up these weird dishes. What if it turns out to be the most delicious thing ever?
What?
I doubt
What
that.
if this
It's
What if this turns out to be the most delicious thing since, like, delicious things?
Then I will kill myself.
wow. That's
I
a
will
bet.
I will kill myself on camera.
I think
For you.
that means that someone has to try it now, because that's a serious bet.
It is. I'm putting my life on the line here.
Well, Starklord, I just saw that link you posted.
Yeah, sorry. I've been browsing the internet while we've been talking.
What is it?
It's a movie for 2012.
Oh my god!
I didn't know that existed. For listeners at home, it's
Oh my
FDR
God.
Badass,
American
Badass.
Oh my god.
I didn't know that was a movie.
Oh my god. Now we do.
I think we have to
Barry
watch.
Bostwick plays FDR?
Who else would do it?
Oh my god. What?
Alright, so yeah, we should definitely go then, so you guys can properly go crazy.
Barry Bostwick.
Okay, so thank you all for listening, and until next time, Fearless Gamers, this is Matt the Vet.
Matt the Clown.
James the Wildcard.
And me.
Saying take
I'm
care.
gonna change my name on this channel to Barry Bostwick.